I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey and I welcome you to the penultimate day of the second round of the International Qualifiers to the 2026 Carcassonne Champions League. And today we're going to watch a lot of hopes and dreams being crushed, as these are the elimination rounds from the lower bracket. So 3 players we're going to say goodbye today. And we're going to have 3 back-to-back matches, so really not a lot of time for intros. We're going to be jumping to the next match as soon as the first one is finished. I'm just going to say that we're featuring a lot of Uruguayan players here, 2 out of 6, so that a lot. But first, we're going to have a look at Berna UI from Uruguay against Asxetos from Greece, who finished in the top 8th at the World in-person Carcassonne Championship. Then we're going to have a watch at my teammate, as he will be facing against the reigning United States national champion, Daniel Ayala, who is representing Mexico in this time as per his country of citizenship. And finally, a player from Norway with the screen name BDDL1. So a player from Uruguay with the screen name BDDL1 will be playing against a newer player from Norway with the screen name Panzah. So several new players whom we have not featured before. Now Asxetos is the one who actually has appeared on this channel, not individually, but as part of the World Team Carcassonne Online Championships. And I know that he tends to play quite fast. Also, I will be trying to talk quite fast as well. As you see, Asxetos is playing here with the green meeples against Berna, who is playing blue to match the color of the national flag, which I do like. Also, it's kind of neat how Greece and Uruguay have the stripe symmetry. Greece with white on blue, Uruguay with blue on white. Anyway, a reminder of y'all that this is going to be a best-of-3 encounter, as all the encounters in the stages of the tournament. And let's have a look at the position now. So Asxetos with a starting player advantage, going to benefit from the better probabilities in field fight towards the end of the game. Currently, Bernardo here, it has this here farmer for 6 points and 2 completed cities on it. It's a little bit restricted, and we can see how green is trying to build around this here road to deprive this meeple of green squares to make sure that it stays at 6 points and never grows. In the meantime, this here square gets blocked, which means no retrieval opportunities for this here monastery. No retrieval opportunities for this blue meeple either, but this also means that this here green meeple is not going to ever get recovered as well after this has been taken care of by Berna, making sure that no splitter tile can be drawn in this here area to do something bad to this guy. Good evening, Helga. So interesting way to go for this 2-city principle. I don't actually think that that's the way to do it, but you know, normally in the early games of Carcassonne, you actually don't want to be finishing your cities. You want to be starting new cities and keeping some other cities open so that you can get tiles like this for future growth. In this particular instance, actually, I would have liked green to finish their cities so that they can start and expose this here square. They can start pressuring Berna's road. It didn't quite work as they had a similar idea, but Berna now is going to get himself a valuable straight line to continue his road to tie the fate of this here road meeple towards this here city meeple, and also give himself one more valuable square, which will give this blue farmer some breathing room as well as creates an inconvenience for this here green road meeple in the future. Asxetos continues his city, but with that also the road of Berna. Berna now gets a chance to finish his road. This will restrict his field, of course, but it's still totally worth it because it now creates an additional attacking square against here. Now Berna's going to go ahead on the scoreboard. And Asxetos now building up monasteries next to each other, so that's quite efficient. Of course, one of these monasteries is dead. This meeple will never be recovered because of the square, but the second meeple is very much alive. And we can see how Berna with his 4 meeples will be looking to invade here at some point, possibly right now. And maybe Asxetos actually missing a chance for defense, going for the natural move, continue his city. But I think a more savvy idea would have been to go over here and take that city instead, and then leave himself a starting tile to go here to still complete it. And as a result of this here miss, all this effort, all these shielded tiles that went into building the city, they will be negated. Unless, of course, this guy happens to draw a split a tile, which is not easy to draw, given that there's only one remaining. One of them is already on the board like that. Very interesting decision here from Georgios. Yes, so Georgios Kyriazides is the name of Asxetos. Or Asxetos, maybe. I think Asxetos. This is where I would make the stress. Berna, I think, now misses a chance for 9 points. This move would have been so much better with meeple in this monastery. 7 points guaranteed. Easy 8th point. And the 9th point from this here area. Yeah, so Berna now will be simply playing 9 points down compared to what he would have had. I mean, he's still going to have, of course, the meeple majority. And certainly it's something quite valuable, just not as valuable as the wannabe 9 points. Still, good position for blue. He's going to have the meeple advantage because of these here areas. Now blue's also trying to create some blocky threats in these here areas, which might end up working. Well, not right now, as Asxetos just keeps scoring. Now only 1 point behind on the scoreboard. This setup is a high prop setup. 88% chance of success with 3 remaining tiles. Berna, of course, is probably going to finish the city. Maybe meeple this road in advance. Maybe take a splitter, take 4 points over here, drop a farmer in advance. I'm trying to plan how I can bully my opponent with a meeple advantage. Dagger tile for the Uruguayan. A couple of moves available here. I like this one the best. Starting a new city, finishing a road, still preserving the meeple advantage. And he chooses not to do nothing. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like leaving empty city caps like this. What I would have done is that I would have tried and take over the big city. There's still a sufficient number of tiles to do that. Berna now with a fantastic tile, but he needs it in 2 spaces. He goes for the more natural move, finishing the city and hopefully meepling this here road, because eventually this here road is going through Asxetos' city. If we don't meeple this road right now, then the Greek player can draw one with 3 curves, go over here, pre-build this road, and then get another tile over here and claim this road for 6 points while finishing the city. It's all very dangerous. Asxetos takes the 4 points from us, which we could have had. Berna is really losing a lot of value by leaving empty city caps lying around. We can see that he meeples the field, which is a good thing to do, just not with this tile. This is something that I see a lot from the players at kind of like 400, 500 level, is that they would make logical moves, but they would sometimes use tiles inefficiently. They would take very, very juicy tiles and just extract marginal value from them. The same type of value that could have been extracted with a simple road tile or a simple crossroad tile or something like this. Anyway, this is some interesting move here from Berna. I can understand this. He kind of just getting himself an extra green square. Asxetos now with a Dorito tile. Does not have to do anything extravagant here. I think he could just go over here and prevent some nastiness, because either player could draw a splitter tile and go here and invade the city with a second meeple. And he prevents exactly that. That is very savvy here from the Greek player. If not for this move, then of course Blue would have gone over here and tried to take over this here city. Now it's no longer possible, but Blue is scoring quick points and Blue is having the control on the farm. This city, as I told you, was completed together with the road. Asxetos now equal on meeples, but Blue still firmly in the lead on the farm. Can now drop a second farmer over here to take it on the right. Could also postpone that decision. No, he goes there right now, but maybe he was not going to drop a farmer. No, he does drop a farmer. With the additional threat of blocking this here square, which would entrap this here green monastery. Georgios gets the defense, but at a price. This exposes an empty city cap in his opponent's field. Bernardo will be happily picking that up soon enough. Just not on this turn because he has a road tile instead of a city tile. And look at this, Asxetos finishes his monastery, looking very good on the scoreboard. The fields of Blue are plentiful. There are 3 of them, with 8 completed cities on them for 24 points, but it's not quite enough. Sure, Asxetos is only 16 on the scoreboard ahead, but he has 8 points over here for the monastery, so that's already 24. Here, these here mini features are equal. And Asxetos still has meeples to spare, so there's a fantastic position here for the Greek. Now players are struggling around these here squares. That's a successful block. I believe this is a complete block. Yes, there's nothing that fits into that square anymore. So this is huge for Berna, preserving them winning chances. Since this here meeple has been only spent for 3 points, but soon Green is going to have another one. He chooses to be greedy and take 4 points and still leave this here meeple for future recovery. Berna now with a big tile gets 7 points for his field, 4 points for the city, 3 points for the field, putting him ever so slightly ahead, but this here guy can still get recovered. 13 tiles only until the end of the game. Now it's probably time to just score. Excellent way to do so with the monastery. Probably going over here for 5 points would be my recommendation. Over here for 5 points is also possible. Controlling some green squares. Maybe looking to draw some city caps and develop this mini 3-point field to something bigger. On second thought, I do not think that there are a lot of city caps remaining in the deck. In fact, we have barely enough to recover this here meeple. So what is Georgios going to do? He is playing this pretty fast. He goes for a safer 5 points monastery. I think here he was a bit afraid of getting blocked in the square, but actually I would have preferred him to go over here because from Blue's perspective, from Green's perspective rather, it's not such a bad idea to get blocked. Yeah. I think it's quite a mistake here from Berna getting here the second farmer, just because this field is too small to fight for with 2 meeples. He's simply burning a meeple here. He needs to keep the majority here with 1 meeple, and the way you win this game from Blue is you entice your opponent into fighting for this farm and then you block them later. But hey, a city cap for Blue is something. He chooses to develop his field. That makes a lot of sense. Even it makes this here meeple play, which I do not think was completely necessary, but okay, it's whatever. Problem now looking over here to unify the cities in this here area. This would actually score him a couple of points. And yes, Asxetos now with a chance to meeple yet another monastery. For 5 points, I would totally do it, but he does not do it because he does not want to stay without meeples. This was still, I think, exactly the move that you're supposed to play. Because what do you need the meeples for? You're going to recover a meeple soon enough anyway. Asxetos building up a monastery. Berna now finishing this city cap and getting a meeple back. But this is huge. This is 7 points on this here little field. Asxetos with a city tile of his own. This is now worth 5. And now Berna needs to pause and count. If I counted correctly, and this is a very, very big if, I do not think there are many city caps that fit into that square. In fact, I think there's only one. And this is this one. So I was trying to figure out whether it's worth the gamble and letting our opponents to finish the city. And blue decided that yes, it was. And green got the crucial tile. Yeah, that is painful situation here for the Uruguayan player. We can see that the higher-rated player prevails. Asxetos had the control of the game. Despite being down on meeples, he just was ahead on points. Most importantly, he managed to finish this here 8-point city and the 4-point road. And Berna, I think, maybe didn't see the idea of meepling this monastery. And he did, in fact, have all the tiles to complete that monastery as well. But I don't think that the 9 points in and of themselves would have been enough. Berna would have needed to deny the meeple on the left to Asxetos, as this here city for 12 points was really valuable. Alrighty. So, 14 points is the win only. Meaning that this road monastery could have been decided. So Asxetos is saying, quite surprised of the placement of the big city, kind of saying, dude, you should have blocked me. A little bit of post-game banter, certainly in good spirits. Alright, so let's see if Berna can manage to come back in the next one. And maybe. He's the starting player. We've changed meeple colors, which is a little bit confusing. So green now for the Uruguayan player and yellow, bright yellow for the Greeks. Alright, so quick points for Berna. Asxetos starts a new city in a rather standard way, but Berna is now trying to break that city a little bit. Will it come with a farmer? No, it does not. The standard move there typically is to farm. And Asxetos really doubles and triples down on the field. You see, this is a bit non-standard because it's a kind of a high-risk play. For green, it makes sense to farm because it's sort of an insurance against yellow finishing this here city. For yellow, when you farm, you're basically saying either I'm going to finish the city or I'm going to lose. And the city has been finished, so our Greek fans have nothing to worry about, at least for now. And Berna now needs to put his starting player advantage into action. As usual in the chat, do let me know who you're rooting for. Kind of curious to see if we have more Greek fans or Uruguayan fans. I would expect to roughly 50-50 support. Asxetos starts a new city. Players exchange quick points. The field now is absolutely wonderful for the player with the yellow meeples. Berna now for the first time ahead on the scoreboard in this guy. No, not for the first time, for the second time. Valuable 4 points and the breakage of this here square. Now Asxetos needs the same type of tile in a variety of places. And look at this, also not the best tile for yellow as he's forced to help blue with his city a little bit. It's double-edged help, of course. On one hand, it adds points. On the other hand, it delays the city a little bit. But if I'm blue, I'm very happy about my opponent making this move because it's actually making it easier for us to go here and drop a farm and invade this here 9-point field. Asxetos starting a new city in a bit of a different area. I would have preferred something like this. Yeah, Berna is now really trying to take care of all the vulnerable squares in his opponent's city. This here move decreases the quality of this square and of this square simultaneously for different reasons. Berna now scoring quick points at the top, and this is why I had some concerns about this here move from Blue's perspective, sorry, from Yellow's perspective, and that's because Yellow's creating a secondary field somewhere away from his main farmer, not something that Yellow wants. But a fantastic tile for Yellow, almost finishing his city, starting a loop road, preparing a monster move. A dagger here would descend with a farmer for a gazillion points. And it's not that easy to block, and the farmer goes down anyway. We have another farmer here from Berna. We're going to have ourselves a position with a lot of closed fields. Meeple counts in this position are crucial, and things are looking pretty good for Yellow. But Green is now trying to block, and he will succeed as Yellow does not get a defense tile. This is absolutely huge. This here city is blocked. It is capped at 6 points, but this city is blocked as well. It balances things out. Now Berna needs to find his only move that gives him still the advantage, and this is going over here and trying to block that city. But does he see it? Does he see? This is the question. Now we know that the biggest threat in Carcassonne is finishing your city with a city cap and dropping a farmer. This needs to be prevented at all costs. We don't chill out for a 4-point road. We don't go for a 6-point farm either. And this could be a game-decisive mistake, unfortunately, for the player with the green meeples. Yeah, you can definitely see the difference in skill level here. But hey, maybe Berna watches the stream afterwards. Maybe they learn some prioritization. Maybe they see how painful it is when your opponent finishes a city and drops a farmer. And they're still not lost. I mean, this is a very good move, actually. Really good move. Dropping a farmer over here. Trying to connect here with a curve. Then potentially here with a monastery. Getting another city cap over here. Trying to abuse your opponent with a meeple advantage. It's still a really good position for Green, actually. Oh, never mind. I thought this was Green move. No, this is Yellow move. Yellow's move's amazing. Yellow's going to go here. Yellow going to win all the fields. Green with a fantastic move, though. Could have even considered dropping a farmer here, actually. Trying to invade like this through one of the 3 remaining daggers. That would have been lovely. Yeah, Green's field at the bottom is really suffering. No green squares. He needs to develop this field at the bottom. Instead, of course, he chooses to take a road, and I do like it. It kind of scores a little bit. Asxetos building the field at the top. I would have preferred a slightly different orientation. I actually would have preferred this dagger over here. Oh, it would have been so much better. Because you see, the issue with the move like this is that on the surface it looks nice because you're adding a city cap to your field, but you got to try to think ahead. What's going to happen after you finish this here city cup? Well, what's going to happen is going to expose a field attacking platform for your opponent who has more meeples than you to equalize and ultimately take over the 15-point field. Berna now tries to block this here invasion, but I think misses out a little bit. There are 2 tiles that fit into this square. It's still a lot. I think we should have dropped here a farmer as the player with the green meeples. Green builds up the road on the left. In the meantime, Yellow successfully blocked off this here meeple. Quick points for Yellow, of course, a massive 15-point field with 5 completed cities, but this field attacking platform on the left looks quite nasty. But in the meantime, Berna has an alternative win condition. Look at how big, how massive this city has been become, and it is only 3 tiles away from getting completed, and we still have 29 tiles in the deck. And poor Georgios, with only 1 meeple, will be struggling to invade it. Bernardo, with a farmer, takes care of this here area. Asxetos cannot invade the city, but at least he can delay it. Bernardo now looking to go here, separate his former farm. Or this also works. Honestly, this also works, as long as you just don't meeple anything. Don't be too tempted. Asxetos takes the quick points for the road, takes over the field on the right for 12 points, has this farmer for 9 points, 21 farming points for Asxetos here, 6 city points over here. That's a lot of points. Bernardo with 4 quickies. Only one down on the scoreboard. Still needs to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of the 3 remaining curves that fit into that square. Asxetos now trying to do everything in his power to break this here city. And now Bernardo has a variety of options. He could do this and get himself a meeple back. And now it creates a wonderful sequence for him. But I wonder if he sees it. Now the plan for the player with the green meeples is to go here and drop a farmer, I was going to say, and with a straight line, and then get a curve and connect 2 farmers, and then a curve, and then connect over here, and just to take over everything with a majority. But the Greek player makes this impossible. Bernardo with some valuable quick points is 8 points ahead on the scoreboard, and now he has more green squares for the development of the farm on the right. Yellow with a tile that can give him nothing much. Probably going here. No, he just chooses to discard the tile. He does not want to score. Bernardo looking to separate these here fields perhaps. Or maybe not. Maybe he's just looking to go over here and build up this here area. This is exactly what he does. Asxetos now separates the farm entry, now gives himself some winning chances if this here green guy does not draw any of the curves that fit into that square. Hypantelis supporting his Greek teammate. And look at this. Bernardo now commits all the way to the field. His plan is to get a curve and get another curve and bully this here meeple with a 2 versus 1 majority. This would be an 18-point field, surely enough to win. Asxetos is now trying to connect all the fields. Bernardo now needs to choose whether he goes over here first or whether he goes over here first. I actually genuinely don't know which one's correct. I think this one seems to be a little bit more logical because this would preserve some other options over here. All right, so the first farmer has been connected. How about the second farmer? Is it coming anytime soon? It looks like all of these cities will be connected and equalized. Asxetos now blocks. There's now only one tile remaining that fits into this square, but Bernardo gets himself a defense tile. He can now go over here. He has to go over here. This is the only way how he can preserve the connection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, there's one curve and one curve only. And he does successfully protect it. He's ahead, but he really, really needs to draw that curve. Straight line from the Greek expert. Trying to create some further vulnerabilities in the giant city of Bernardo. And Bernardo gets the last curve. Connects to the field. Now currently has a majority. Of course, we can expect some further field fighting. There are now 2 separate fields at the moment. One with a majority for green for 18 points. One with a majority for yellow for 12 points. So a 6-point difference. Bernardo with the road monastery presumably wants to go upstairs and try to block that here field's connection. Instead chooses it to discard it. Asxetos scores points for the road. He needs to take every little piece of point that he can get. Bernardo with the splitter tile needs to make an important strategic decision. Do we try and develop the field at the top, or do we just continue pre-building our city? I am a little bit concerned about the city because I know that Asxetos, now that we're coming closer to the end of the game, actually now this is the moment where the Greek player could, in theory, use his last meeple to invade that ruin. And how about right now? If we are Greek here, we could go here and meeple this for 7 points. At least it seems like a natural move. We could try and equalize all the points here. We would be down on the scoreboard, but if we equalize in this here area with the last monastery, for example, then we can actually still win the game because we're having a 2-point mini battle over here, and we would be +4, right? We would be +4. I mean, we probably still lose, but maybe if Bernardo just does not manage to score 4 points with his last meeple somehow, I think technically it is possible, but it would require a mistake. Difficult position for the Greek expert here. Still 10 minutes on the clock to try and figure this out. Yeah, I just don't see what could happen. Oh, I know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Never mind, I don't. I was thinking that maybe it was possible to free up these here road meeples, but not anymore because all of the 8 crossroads have gone out. So, yeah, I think there's just nothing. So, this is the move from the Greek player, and basically he's going to try and prevent Bernardo from scoring 5 points. Actually, it is kind of possible, right? It is an absolutely viable winning plan, and so it is not easy to make a move here if you're Bernardo. You're kind of thinking about a move like this, trying to block this here city connection, but it doesn't really work because there's still one tile that fits here. He tries to do that, while Asxetos does not manage to connect. But now he needs to think really hard. I think he needs to go here. Yes, he needs to go here, connect the fields. No, this is not how you... He needed to go here to connect the fields, and then he had to induce Bernardo to drop another farmer, and then he had to hope that that farmer stays at 0 points so that we draw the connection tile that Bernardo needs. This is just not going to cut it. He needs to connect to the farm a little bit later, because all Bernardo needs to do is, yeah, sure, something like this, but I was thinking something like this instead. Asxetos now is going to build up here, I think. I think at this point it is actually correct, because he needs to score a couple more points before invading this here farm. Or wait, he needs to count up a little bit. Yeah, this is not an easy situation. He can win this. He can still win this. Just hold on for a second, right? So this here city is 12 points. Yeah, and this here city is 9. It doesn't quite cut it, does it? So if he connects now, it's going to put him at +1, I think. It's not quite enough. So maybe we go here. And then we go here, and this puts us at +3. If we get the monastery. And then, actually, I think it's possible to win this? Well, probably not, because our opponent probably gets a city tile and scores 4 points for the city at the bottom, but they could easily make a mistake. There is one of the road Doritos remaining, right? And the road Doritos, they are good here for scoring. So I believe, well, we have 2 paths to victory. Now, first is we go here, and we hope that our opponent messes up and does not claim this here city, and maybe claims this one instead for 3 points. Then we get the monastery connect. We also have to get the monastery not only to connect, but also to deny our opponent's scoring opportunities. So I think we do take the extra points for now. Another way how we can win is if we go here, it puts us at +1. And so the only way how we can win if our opponent chooses to fight for the field, you know the famous I can't lose the field syndrome, and they go over here with the road Dorito, and they drop a farmer for 0 points, and then they get the monastery with which they're not able to connect. They can't score, they lose this game with a 1 point difference. I think, yeah, this is an interesting decision. So do you go for the more objective winning move with a higher probability, or with a lower probability, or do you try and go for a move which is objectively losing, but one which with a high probability induces a mistake from your opponent. And I think this is where Georgios will need to show his human reading skills. What do you make of Berna here? How good is his endgame? He's thinking really hard about this one, which he has to. The downside, of course, is that his opponent can do some thinking too. I just wanted to give you a rundown of the points real quick. So we have this here blocked here city, compensated by this here blocked farm. This here city is 12, and this here city is 9. So these are 3 points extra for green. Here we have a 5-point road versus a 3-point road. So this is 2 points extra for yellow. Overall, we have 1 point extra for green. But there is also this here thing. This is a 9-point field, which gives 8 points extra for Asxetos on the board. And of course, Bernardo has 7 points on the scoreboard. So overall, if these fields are united, the score will be +1 for Asxetos. Now, of course, the score is -5 because he has the smaller field. And he goes for the more objective route, and unfortunately it is not going to work as he gets this here tile first. Bernardo gets the monastery. He's going to score some points. It was still a worthy, respectable idea. Just is not going to work in this particular instance. I don't believe there is a tile remaining to connect over here. There is a road Dorito and something else. Here comes the 5-point monastery. Here comes the road Dorito. And the city cup, of course, was the other one. Which actually meant that it was even possible to take 6 points for Bernardo. Yeah, tough. Tough endgame for the Greek player. He will be losing this with just under 10 points. And with that, we're headed to a decider. Yep, 8 points is the difference. Right, the second game was closer. The second game was more exciting. Now let's see if the Uruguayan player manages to deliver the upset or if it is the World Championship quarterfinalist who will assert his dominance. Bernardo now is the starting player again with a slight advantage. Starts a new city. Asxetos, however, with the first monastery. Bernardo now with the first road tile. Takes care of the road and makes the monastery a little bit more vulnerable. But of course, yeah, a rather gigantic mistake actually from the Uruguayan player. There is no justification for failing to place a meeple other than a misclick. But I'm pretty sure that was not a misclick. I'm pretty sure that was not intentional. And this is something that I've also seen quite a lot in sort of 400, 500 ELO play, is that players would be just excessively conservative in the opening. Leave features up for grabs. This now ends up not making a difference as Bernardo takes the first road end tile of the game, the first crossroad tiles of the game. But of course, the issue with his move is that this here 3 points, these here might have as well belonged to the Greek player. In the meantime, a bit of a tricky position here for Greece. These here 2 meeples are not super comfortable. He's kind of making necessary moves, all the necessary moves to defend this here monastery, but Bernardo is 7 points ahead. He's now going to pick off this empty city cap and meeple it. For the love of... Again, there's no real justification for leaving this meeple-less. The Uruguayan is going to have some problems here now. Also, not taking the road or the monastery and going straight for the farm. It is also that is quite painful. A lot of missed value over here, unfortunately, but somehow, just somehow, it ends up working in the short term at the very least. Asxetos picks up the empty city, so in that sense at least, Bernardo does pay the price for not placing a meeple. But now, please meeple the road. Oh dear. Ouch, 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 ouch. This is a standard tactic. You gotta learn this stuff. You gotta learn this stuff, my friend. Potentially missing out on 2 points. So of course, the move here typically is to meeple this here road instead of this here city, so that you can later take away the city points and benefit from both the road and the city segments. You know, like you are inefficient with 2 points here, inefficient with 2 points there, and now it accumulates, and then you lose the game by 3 points, and then these sort of imprecisions end up being game decisive. I think, of course, the main rationale of a player who chooses to do this, and I've seen this mistake many times on stream, so it's nothing special to worry about. Everybody goes through this sort of stage in their Carcassonne careers. The idea why it's safe to leave the city cap open is because whoever takes the city cap will expose the blocking square against this here meeple. As many of you know, Bernardo is now trying to get his meeple blocked. He's now 1 tile away from his opponent drawing a Dorito tile and blocking his meeple permanently. Well, that's something. Asxetos successfully saves his city somehow. Now there are 3 tiles remaining over here. Bernardo now finishes his road, makes the square mildly more vulnerable. He's now ahead on the scoreboard. Asxetos now will block the meeple of green. And also block the field development, and also look at the precision. He restricts this here square, and this here road end is now looking over here. And the Greek expert is thinking about drawing a dagger tile and even making this long road. And even dropping a fama. Bernardo equalizes the little city of Asxetos, but Asxetos has other things in mind as he finishes a monastery and already has a bigger city being prepared. Excellent position for yellow, 6 points ahead, a meeple ahead, a threatening city. The short farmer of green has been thwarted, at least temporarily. Now green really wants to draw a splitter tile to go over here and drop a second farmer and bring the value of his farm to 12 points with 4 completed cities on the field, and also wants some extra city points for this here area. Doesn't get it right now, and doesn't get it ever, as the splitter tile, the one and only remaining in the deck at the time, is with the Greek player, who is now either going to take 4 points over here or cover up on the other side. 4 points make a lot of sense. Now preparing a counter field at the bottom. Bernardo with the first of the 3 daggers that fit into that square, of course not going to go there. He has to invade the city before it becomes too much of a threat. Asxetos now covers up the square, makes it more difficult to invade. Bernardo now with the scoring tile can probably go here for 3 points and thinking about getting a curve and blocking the square. And with that, this here yellow meeple in the future. -7 on the scoreboard. Asxetos makes his meeple more safe and even drops the first farmer. I'm going to suggest he's thinking about it. He's doing it. Bernardo now with a temporary meeple majority. Probably looking to score a little bit. Maybe go over here. Take some points for the road. I'm not sure what else we can do here. Maybe go over here, try to poke at this road a little tiny bit. Not really effective. I think we take the point here. He chooses to... Please don't drop a farmer. I think this invasion is a little bit too premature, and it's also a little bit too risky. Bernardo will be playing with one meeple for way too long in this game, and I think now Asxetos will be grinding his opponent down. It's going to be a game of attrition, and the Greek expert knows exactly what to do. But a scoring tile gives a little bit of something for the South American. 3 points and a restricted city cap is the outcome. Asxetos now finds a beautiful way to take care of this road end and the safety of his road. Bernardo in the meantime invades in this here city, and this here city is something that could create some winning chances for green, but this is yellow who places a meeple over there. Brilliant move. Still 2 tiles to connect over here, a plethora of tiles available to connect over here, and even if Bernardo manages to outblock and outdraw in all of these areas, which is a low probability event to begin with, and it's even not going to happen, then Asxetos, of course, has meeple retrieval opportunities in multiple other parts of the board. Now this here is connected. This city is the most valuable feature on the board. Green cannot invade. Green can only block, and I think at this point Green should kind of try and block it. I'm not sure, really. Maybe not. Maybe as green, we actually just go here. We try to block the road and we leave this open so that we can invade. The thing is that we're so far behind is that we cannot afford this city being not just completed, we just cannot afford our opponent to have that city to begin with. But I think now Bernardo might just not have a choice. Yeah, he blocks this. It is a permanent block. It was the last tile of its kind. There's nothing that fits over here. But look at how many points yellow is going to have for his blocked combo of meeples. This is way too many points. Greece will be advancing to the next stage of this qualification tournament, and at least one Uruguayan will be eliminated tonight. It's only a matter of 7 minutes and 48 seconds or less. So a shared city has been completed. Bernardo's idea is just to give both sides a meeple back, just to make sure that there's a little bit more fighting going on. And Asxetos immediately takes care of that farming platform over farms. Actually, no, he just simply drops a second farmer and tries to connect to the field whilst also finishing his road. Very nice efficiency. However, maybe a glimmer of hope for Berna if this square is somehow blocked. Then he's gonna have another platform to invade, and like, but no, I don't think there's nothing. Oh no, there is something. One teeny tiny chance for Bernardo, and this was not it. The chance, of course, was to go here and try to invade that square and try to draw that tile and finish this here big city. But it seems that the Uruguayan is just going to play kind of standard Carcassonne, the one that you play. The one that you play when the score is equal. However, it pays off, at least locally, as there's only one tile that goes into the square. He could easily win this coin flip, leaving these here 2 meeples stranded. So that is something nice. Very nice spatial recognition move here from Georgios, blocking the most potent farming platform available for green. Curvy tile for green right now. And Asxetos spent fewer than 3 minutes. Bernardo drops a farmer, which is what he has to do at this point, and he gets the best possible tile in the deck. Not only does he get to connect to the field, but also he denies his opponent the farming opportunity. But Asxetos is now trying to bully this here poor little meeple. This only hope of Bernardo for meeple recovery and further point scoring opportunities. He now gets himself some extra. But Asxetos gets some extra in terms of points. Bernardo with a monastery does not have a useful location for it. Maybe we can discard it. Asxetos with a monastery of his own. Oh, look at the Uruguayan actually fighting until the end. So he used this monastery tile to take out the most valuable monastery location, knowing that there was another one in the deck that yellow could have gone over here for 6 points, but now yellow can't. The best monastery placement is probably here for 4 points, or there's several 4-point spots, and he does exactly this. Actually, he doesn't do this, and the reason he doesn't do this is because Berna gets this here tile, and now Asxetos is going to go over here and claim the 6-point field, which was just created for him by Bernardo City. Please don't tell me that Georgios is now going to slow roll. This is, by the way, not a slow roll. This is a genuine calculation as to which move is best. Because you see, there are two ways to score 6 points. One, you could go for the field, which I mentioned, but also you could go here for the 6-point road. And the best way kind of depends on what the tile remaining is, right? So Bernardo has a tile in hand. If it is a city plus field tile, then we need to go over here and take out the field scoring option, because with a city plus field tile, green will only be able to score 3 or 4 points, depending on whether there's a shield on it. If it's a city plus road tile, then we actually have to go here and take the 6-point road, knowing that with a city plus road tile, our opponent is not able to go over here. And it is in fact a city plus field tile, so the calculation of Asxetos was precise. We take out the farming platform, even though we could have taken the road for the same number of points just as well. Very nice to see such grit from the Greek player. Bernardo takes the 3 points. They will be losing this. GGS, says Asxetos. We thank Bernardo for his participation, but the more experienced player this time prevails, as is often in Carcassonne. For Bernardo, hopefully a learning experience. Hopefully they manage to cross their expert rating threshold soon enough. But for this year, they are eliminated. I need to catch my breath a little bit. So the pacing is quite good. The next match is in 6 minutes, so we don't really going to miss anything. So I have time for a proper preview. But before I do a preview, you know, let us take a couple of minutes break for the preparation of hot beverages. I need it for my voice, and you need it for your health, I presume. And we're back. Hi, Zhao. In 3 minutes, we're starting our second match, and this is just enough time for a proper preview. Where are we? Where are we? Ah, yeah, here we are. So, now some... Oh, there we go. I think we're back. It takes a little bit too long to explain, but basically the reason why we were off for a couple of minutes is because whilst carrying the hot beverages, I tripped on an extension cord, which resulted into certain things. Thank you all so much for waiting. Apologies for the delay, and hopefully we didn't miss too much of the match. It started a couple of minutes ago, but I just want to give you a brief preview over here. So, Latvian expert napalmEye against the Mexican master Daniel Ayala. Of course, I will be rooting very hard for Jānis Ancens, that's the name of napalmEye. Last year had a very good year. He finished top 8 in the Carcassonne Champions League, and now he's struggling for survival. Same as Daniel Ayala, who lost to the reigning UK championship in their first encounter, to the UK champion in their first encounter in this qualification, and both are now on the brink of elimination. So let's hope that Jānis gets himself some love from the tile deck. And as for Daniel, with all due respect, he has already won enough things. He's the reigning national champion in the United States. And Jānis has a lot of second place finishes in a variety of competitions. Still really looking forward towards that first one. And there he is, with 2,000 games of experience, and now a bit of a downswing rating-wise, just over 500. I think Daniel's going to have better stats at the moment, 5,000 games of experience, but also on an even greater downswing of roughly 500. So let's see what we get out of this. What is that about? Okay, but what did I do? Oh dear. Now we have some more issues, but like, has anybody ever experienced something like this before? Where you have meeples like this? Can we just... Okay, what is going on? I'm pretty sure that it has to be something with Board Game Arena. I would be surprised if it has any relation to the issues that we just had, because I didn't trip any hot liquids on anything. I just literally unplugged some equipment inadvertently. Can I just try and open this link in another tab or something? No, really, it is just like this. Okay, let me try incognito mode. Let me try a different browser or something. This is so strange. Okay, it works in incognito mode, which is not on the screen. This is so weird. This is like the first time in 4 years. Oh, lordy. Okay, I know what we're gonna do. I know what we're gonna do. Oh, we're gonna change the artwork for this one. We're gonna change it to this and see how it works. No, the meeple still would not show. Isn't that spectacular, right? This is amazing. Okay. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna open it in incognito mode. And I'm going to just change... yeah, I'm just going to change what I'm showing on the screen real quick. This is so weird. Right, so I'm just closing this one down. And then I am opening this. And then we're changing this. And then we're going to be looking at the game like that. Strange though it may seem. Alrighty. Yeah, but this is the first time I see the meeples not functioning. Alrighty, so I think everything should be clear now. Let's now start breaking down this position. Jānis, who is playing the blue meeples, in good spirits as usual, is down on the clock, loving it. He is, however, 18 points ahead on the scoreboard, loving that too. So what are we having here? We're having the city, which was going to be completed in favor of black, but blue was able to successfully equalize it, so this basically will not matter. Blue has this blocked road, which is a big problem, of course, for blue over here. And blue has some farmers over here and over here, which are about to equalize the farms of black here. Looks like the fields will be quite important in this game, because 5 completed cities, that is quite a lot, and there will be more completed cities. And if I'm the Latvian, then I'm really concerned about this here square. The prospect of Daniel finishing the city with a city cap, dropping a farmer, then getting a monastery here to connect is something that I would not wish in my worst enemy. Hi, played Mac. I can try and changing the artwork, Helge, but the thing is that I believe that if you view in spectator mode, then it does not allow you changing the artwork. Yeah, this is the default mode, so we're stuck with that for a second. It's still Carcassonne. And believe it or not, some players, maybe the majority, play with this artwork voluntarily. napalmEye successfully connects to the field, but unfortunately, Daniel now finishes the city, drops a farmer, and whilst he will not be connecting through a monastery, connecting here is also actually quite painful. Daniel now gets to go over here. I love the idea of trying to block here, but Jānis really needs to draw a curve over here soon enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 of those remaining. As soon as he draws one, he will be just fine. He's still 14 points ahead on the scoreboard. He's going to have 5 points extra for this here road. And a mistake from Jānis. Of course, we don't go here. Of course, we go here instead and try to block that city. Oh, this is so painful. Jānis, however, with a nice sequence to sort of compensate things. This square is now blocked. He's now going to have a bigger side of a blocked ruin compared to black. Black is trying to prevent that unsuccessfully, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 more tile still remains over here. A couple more tiles remain to fit into this square. This was not the best move for Daniel, which is quite fortunate for everybody who's rooting for Latvia here. So Daniel just keeps scoring and scoring. Jānis, of course, is prolonging his road indirectly. He just needs to get a meeple back. This is what it is. Technically, the black farmer is not invaded yet, and since there are only 4 curves remaining, there's like a 5% chance that we draw all the curves and we leave this guy stranded. Daniel now going to inflict further pain, either by scoring 3 points over here, or by going over here and trying to invade that way and even block this road a little bit. We see the direct scoring for now. Jānis now finishes the city on his opponent's field, which I guess I can understand. That's one way to clean a city cap, but maybe going here would have been a little bit better. A blocking attempt against the square will be unsuccessful, as Jānis is going to develop his side of the ruin a little bit. And where is that curve about? We desperately need that curve, because then we're gonna get meeples back, and then we'll have to fight for the field as well. It's just way, way, way too many points. Down on the clock as usual. City cap for Daniel Ayala, starting a new city in his field, which actually I don't like. Because you see, he's just trying to score as much as possible, whereas I don't think this is where his concern should be. Daniel's concern should be, how do I maximize the winning chances of this game? And whilst this city cap is nice for scoring, he's going to go here and score 7 points, 4 for the city, 3 for the field, the usual drill. But if Jānis gets a meeple back, this city cap will provide a wonderful, easy platform for equalizing this here field. And then Jānis is going to be ahead because he will have more points after finishing this here road, after having the big side of this here ruin, after continuing over here. So Daniel probably is going to maybe need to drop another farmer preemptively. How do we do this? Yeah, this is a good move, blocking this here square. napalmEye can get himself a couple of points. That's actually very, very good for him, continuing the road, creating a chance to invade the fields. But Daniel gets the first curve, frees up his own monastery, finally connects to the field. napalmEye gets his straight line, gets 1 point, really nothing much there. Daniel has plenty of options. Could go here, start a new city. Could go here, just meeple a road for 6 points. Honestly, that could work just fine. Because now Daniel has some scenarios where he wins without preserving the majority on the field, although that's a little bit tricky. Daniel takes care of one of the field invasion platforms. Jānis needs to create something, but with that he's just going to score points. Daniel gets a fantastic scoring tile. 4 points, setting up for more points, setting up a field expansion. napalmEye does not get a tile that he needs. Just give us a curve already. Stingy, stingy board game arena developers. Still 3 of those in the deck, and Daniel just keeps scoring and scoring and scoring and expanding the field, and we get curvy tiles, but no curves. napalmEye is thinking whether to continue his road or to continue his city. I'm not sure which one's correct. He chooses to take care of one of the invasion platforms, but I wonder why he would do that. He's a bit short on time, and he's probably a little bit tilted, which he shouldn't be. He still has genuine chances to win this game. He just needs to get a meeple back and invade the field. It's as simple as this. Daniel gets some scoring opportunities, now plus 19 on the scoreboard. Jānis now gets a straight line. And with that, it's truly over. Daniel scores some 4 points extra. Oh, drops a farmer for good measure. Why not? We get a meeple back finally, too little too late. Not only will we not have enough time to invade the field, we won't even be able to spend our newly recovered meeples. This is some next level sadness. Daniel is going to score something. I presume 4 points over here is all the rage. It's just his highest scoring move. He's trying to calculate some things. Maybe he wants to block this here monastery square. Yeah, that's quite interesting how the 2 remaining tiles are regular monasteries. So maybe it's a good idea to go here instead for 1 point. Yeah, that's what he's thinking. We go here for 1 point. We don't allow blue to go over here for 7. For 10, actually. And instead, we just both make normal 5-point moves. Yeah, I think that's the idea. We just go here. We block the square. And then we each get a 5-point monastery. Of course, we don't need to spend our meeple because we don't have too many of them. I'm pretty sure that the Mexican will find this. In the meantime, I'm going to make some cosmetic changes in a couple of places. Just bear with me. Just do a little bit of that. Oh, wait, I didn't realize that I'm covering up the meeples. Let me just move everything a little bit lower. There we go. So much more beautiful. All right, back to this. Just give us the move, Daniel. You've won this. Fair and square. Although, should I say fair and curvy? Unfair and curvy. Right, I'm being facetious. We know we don't blame tiles for things. Daniel finds his best pre-endgame move, blocking the monastery spot. This is what you're supposed to do with perfect information. Jānis is going to take a 5-pointer somewhere. Daniel is going to take a 5-pointer somewhere as well. And the players are going to head straight into game 2. So now Jānis is making some calculations. I presume he's trying to figure out which tile is last, but we have had enough time to deduce that it is also a monastery, so there's nothing else than exchanging 5-pointers, and eventually he will see it. Five points in one place. Daniel goes for 5 points at the top. And now the points will be counted. And the result will be rather disappointing because you see that Jānis lost this, but didn't even lose by that much. Of course, the big field belongs to black, but I believe that even with the hard type of luck that Jānis had, waiting for the curve for a long time, the loss was actually entirely avoidable. Yeah, so minus 16 is the score, right? Oh no, minus 19. Which might seem like a big deal, but try to think about... Oh, come on! I have 2 premium accounts, Board Game Arena. Like, maybe if you show the meeples properly, more people will start buying your premiums. Alright, never mind the stats. So, like, it might seem like a big win for Daniel, 19 points, but just think of how many of these 19 points were scored by quick points. 8 points over here, 4 points here, 4 points here, 3 points here. Like, it just was obscene scoring spree. So, I believe that Jānis could have avoided this by simply just not dropping the last farmer over here. He played a move which Mikhail Zolotuhin, the well-known master in board game arena, likes to play quite a lot. Doesn't like imbalances, wants to equalize the fields, and even is happy to spend his last meeple for doing so. And it's not necessarily bad, but with 4 curves, it could be a long wait, and he didn't have any meeples to recover elsewhere. That was also another issue. So if we just not go there, then we actually can afford to lose the field and still win. We have a meeple to score quick points. Our opponents cannot do shenanigans like this, just pre-build 8-point cities without meepling them. They would be forced to meeple them, in which case we can block. If they don't meeple them, then we can take away from them. So yeah, if we just don't go here, it also creates an interesting choice for Black, who had a city cap over here. Now, if he finishes this city, does he drop a farmer? Well, if he drops a farmer, then without this blue guy, Black has maybe overcommitted with 3 versus 1. And when we get a meeple back, Blue can just score in some other places. But if Black does not drop a farmer, well then, this here guy is not in a hurry, because we can just use that platform for invading ourselves. So if the farm is medium size, like 5 cities, then it is okay to just let your opponent make the decision whether they're going to play over farming with a super majority on the field, or whether they're just going to play a simple majority on the field, in which case you get these invasion platforms. So I think Jānis, they're playing a little bit too... What is that? No. You telling me you can't watch games? Oh, no. I mean, I'll just copy the link from elsewhere, but honestly, I am starting to get a little bit frustrated with Board Game Arena. And let me just get the thing up shortly. I'm still having violet meeples. Hopefully not violent meeples. Violet meeples in my main view of the window, which I'm going to close shortly. And now we're here. Yes, exactly, Helge. Purple squares are the latest premium feature. Maybe that's what you have if you play twice for the premium. Alrighty, napalmEye now with the red meeples, which are relatively new to him. I guess this is because Daniel's color, primary color, is also blue. So Daniel now gets the honor. However, napalmEye now has a position which is not as good as the last game. So hopefully this changes quick enough. So what are we having? Equality on the scoreboard, starting player advantage, this is all nice. 5-point monastery, this is all nice. These here 2 roads, these are working well. This here 8-point city soon to become very nice. This here guy, a little bit vulnerable. Nothing much we can do about it. We can only score 3 points over here. Don't spend too much time on this, and also don't play a move like this. This is not important to block. Basically, mini Carcassonne lesson for y'all is normally, unless your road, if you have a road going through your monastery, unless it's like exceptionally long, you allow your opponent to connect. You don't worry about it, because just think about it, right? We sacrifice 3 points, potentially 6 points, to save a road with a 4-point difference. We have a 5-point road versus a 1-point road, which is actually only a 3-point difference, because if our opponent connects, then they only get 3 extra points, because they get 4 for the road and -1 for the monastery. And now we also risk getting blocked, and we probably do get blocked. So I I was pretty sure. I think there's something psychological going on. Maybe Jānis too frustrated after not recovering meeples. Yeah, he gets his meeple blocked for no reason, and it's just going to be more pain from there. Still a decent position because of the scoreboard, but no tile to fit into this square. Fortunately, he does get the quick points to fit over here. Maybe he could try block here a little bit. That's actually a very nice move here from the Latvian. Trying to block that guy. Unsuccessful, at least for now, but we can continue over here. Now exert further pressure. Yeah, Jānis is doing just all right. And I would have even preferred Red's position if not for this here blue city here, just waiting for one of the many, many Doritos in the deck and ultimately getting the long-term advantage. And the reason for this here mistake is purely psychological, because you don't really count the points, because if you count the points, the move is obvious. Just take the 3 quick points and live to see another day. But this move is psychological in the sense, oh, I built this road, I worked so hard for it, and if you're going to invade, you're going to take something that's mine. You're going to share something that's mine. This is really... just the psychology behind this move is very, very simple. But when you play higher level Carcassonne, you just start noticing that sharing features is not a big deal. It's very often a necessary part of the game. Sharing is caring, even in competitive play. Alright, so Jānis creates a monastery spot for himself, but it gets snatched by Daniel. So that is not great. And also the thing with monastery spots, you want to be making those, but you want to be making those when your monastery is still alive, right? So that you can complete a monastery with another monastery. Here, the value of that spot is very, very marginal. In fact, it was definitely better to just go here, continue the city, and try to finish it and exert some additional pressure here. But we do see now a very strong move from Jānis. 5-point monastery, pre-building this road, which for some weird reason actually benefits blue a little bit more than it does benefit red. And blue is now a bit scared. Blue is actually trying to defend himself, which gives red the Dorito, which now goes here, please. And, some good chances to do something nasty. The other way, but okay, I'll take it. It is typically, I don't know. I really would hope that Jānis knows this stuff. It's kind of a standard tactic, especially on this board, because if you turn this to the right, you know that some of the city plus field that squares that go into the square actually belong over here for blue. So most of the time, if we go here, then we manage successfully to block this square. It's still an okay move, just mildly imprecise. Granted, this is a bit of a subtle detail. And, oh, what a fun tile! Daniel with the defense, and napalmEye is probably forced to go here and block everything. Or is he? Oh, this is so interesting. Okay. So now think about this. Think about it for like 2 minutes. How do we win this game? Because option 1, we go here, we block this square, and we inadvertently block this square as well. So that would be unfortunate. But option 2, we don't do nothing. We go here, take 4 points, and then we wait for one of the 4 remaining curves to go here, in which case we would block this square, but save this square. Now, Jānis might have reservations about waiting for curves after that last game, but it's something worth considering. Probabilities-wise, of course, I believe it is better to just go here and block these squares. We're only down 1 meeple and we're up on the scoreboard. It's precisely the kind of position where it is okay to have a bunch of blocked stuff. We're probably going to get back these here guys, so I think it's okay. If you were behind on the scoreboard, then going for the lower prob option, I think would be the way to go, and we do see a more disciplined move from Jānis. Although, unfortunately, and it has to be extremely frustrating, had he been greedier, for 4 points over here, he would have in fact drawn the blocking tile, which is simultaneously the saving tile for this here guy. And it has to be very, very frustrating for Jānis, but I want him to know that the previous move, I think, was still correct. We cannot be result-oriented when we make these decisions. It's still a decent position for the Latvian player. We can now continue our city. We can now try and get the 8 points. Daniel now tries to block it, but that's okay. The move was still correct. There were not many big tiles remaining in the deck. It's just our opponent happened to have one of them. We probably can go over here and save the city and start a road, maybe? Or we can ignore it and score 4 points over here. I do not like that move without meeple. I think just giving your opponent 4 easy points, it is too much. Yeah, but you see, like, it's all about recognizing the specific situation in each game. In last game, I would have preferred him not to spend the last meeple. In this one, I would have preferred him to spend the last meeple just to not allow these easy scoring / blocking opportunities. Because this also, like, yeah. This 4-point road, it's not just points, it's also blocking platform against this here square. Jānis now actually could have considered going here, I think. I think he should have considered genuinely trying to save that city. Now it's not going to work. But no, this move is alright. Daniel making a high-risk play, actually. Choosing to save this here city instead of attacking that one. But there's only one vanilla city cap tile remaining. So why not? Maybe can we just draw a tile for once? Can we get the city cap? Can this guy get blocked? Can we finish this city? This monastery, of course, is very, very nice for this guy. This city tile, rather, but it is what it is. We're equal on the scoreboard. We're still not lost. It's actually a decent position because this guy scores more than this. This guy scores more than this. This guy scores more than this. And this guy scores more than this. I'm not sure if I'm crossing them out. I should be circling them. This guy scores equal than this. This guy is supposedly going to recover with a good enough tile. So yeah, like, Gred is ahead in every single direct and indirect mini battle happening on the board. So really, all we have to do in order to win this is just draw the vanilla city cap, prevent our opponent from going over here, and that's kind of it. Ideally, we finish the city too, in which case we're cooking. Okay, move by Jānis. I would have preferred... Actually, no. Nah. So it is mildly imprecise. I like the idea in general of dropping this cap somewhere which leaves both caps open. But 2 issues with this. If our so let's say if our opponents or we take this here city cap and score, then it exposes a vulnerability in our city. So you don't want to actually drop tiles like this, so that scoring 4 points here would create this vulnerability. So you want to drop it somewhere else. Also, if our opponent does successfully draw this here tile, then they can preemptively drop a farmer, and so when we complete our city, then we are not able to drop a farmer here. So a move that I actually would have preferred is a little bit counterintuitive, and the move is here, going like this and leaving a 6-point city up for grabs, you heard me, and a 4-point city up for grabs. It looks a little bit more dangerous, but I believe that this is correct because it will also expose this here blocking platform, which means that Daniel sometimes loses even if they draw the city cap over here in that area. So yeah, kind of a lot of contrast with the morning match, of course, where there are a lot of subtleties to be seen, remain to be seen by the players here. All right, so Jānis now is facing his city getting blocked. The good news for us is that we get the last vanilla city tile. And he used it to score here. I would have actually tried to go here and just YOLO'd it a little bit. Now, Daniel is going to score points over here. Or maybe go straight up for the block. Not sure which one's best. Maybe the block is a little bit better. Oh, come on, Daniel. What was that? So, with a miscount with 9 minutes on the clock. Okay, Jānis now deserves to win. Like, this was a gigantic, gigantic mistake. I really don't know much to say here. Yeah, I'm being maybe like a little bit too harsh, but I would not have made the same comments in the previous matchup, for example. But Daniel is so experienced, he's national champion. Like, just double check the tiles. It's not that hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, I can even do this with the new artwork design, despite how much it hurts my eyes. So 3 points wasted here. Actually, probably more than 3 points. Because finishing a city here would have created a nice field, which only Blue can claim because he has the scoring opportunities. Jānis now very nicely restrict this here road, and I think he's cruising. He's 4 points ahead. He's a meeple down, but he has extra points from some other places. Daniel now drops a farmer, which could have been 6 points if only he were to have claimed these here points here. napalmEye now needs to decide whether he continues his city like this or like this. Some easy 2 points for the Latvian. He could also go here and eliminate that city cap, but that would be way, way, way too cautious if you ask me. All right. Jānis is getting in a bit of a time trouble. I really think this is where we shouldn't over-optimize. Just take the quick points. Just take the 2 points. It doesn't matter exactly where. It doesn't have to be super precise because you get more win probability from the saved time, from increased quality of the future move than trying to find the single best move right here, right now. Because the difference between the best move and the second best move in a position like this is probably a fraction of a win percentage point. Whereas the probability of making a blunder because you have less than 1 minute on the clock is absolutely real. We've talked about this with Jānis a lot. He's been struggling with time management, and he used it, you know, to block a city cap in his opponent's field. You know what? Respectable. I can live with that. And maybe it is, in fact, the best move. He didn't even spend too much time on this, so that's very nice. He still has 2 minutes. It is kind of enough for pre-end game, although here now we have some tricky decisions, like, do we go here and meeple the field for 6 points? At what point do we do that? Do we take the road in order to not allow Daniel to take these 4 points? I don't know. I'm starting to get a little bit worried. napalmEye now gets a tile which he cannot score, and that is why I was thinking that maybe we should have gone over here and continued the city, which would have allowed us to get more points. But Jānis is playing as if he's ahead by a lot. But now I think he's only ahead by a little bit. I maybe gonna try and make some calculations. These here things cancel each other out. And this here city is 7. But the monastery is 8. However, this here 3-point farmer against this, basically everything here cancels each other out. A scoring tile here for Daniel would have descended over here, but he does not get it. So napalmEye's decision actually does pay off, as he sacrifices 4 points to save 6 points. So it is a net 2 points move gain. Oh, never mind. It just goes here. What am I talking about? And we probably lose. Oh, it's so painful. Painful, painful, painful. Anyway, let's just keep further points exploration. So 1 point for blue here. And then in this here area, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 point for red. So actually, red is now -1 at the moment. Red is going to be -6 after this. There's no coming back from there. So I believe that just playing simpler and going here and here would have been better for Jānis, because with -2, the game actually becomes playable. Like you can take a 6-point feature, and that is probably enough to win. Yeah, the Latvian just getting a little bit too fancy with those moves, and I'm really not sure what is there better in this position than 7 points. And ultimately, we do see those 7 points on the board. Jānis gets himself a lovely tile, actually. That's a 7-point tile for himself. And given that there were 2 tiles that fit into this square, I dislike this here move even more. Time trouble does certain things to you. Now, he does get the 6 points. This is kind of nice. Daniel, I guess, would have gotten extra here, but I doubt it matters too much. He's going to take instead this here 4-point city, so generously pre-built for him by Jānis. And I believe that Jānis is losing this one by 5 or something like that. Something very close and very painful. Hi, Juan. Daniel is just double-checking, triple-checking things, very, very methodical. So finally, the tile has been placed. The game is over, and so is the duel. And unfortunately, the top 8 finisher from last year gets eliminated, unless I severely miscounted the points, which in my state of mind at the moment, unfortunately, is a possibility. I am still a little bit frustrated at myself for stepping on that extension cord earlier today and disrupting the stream a little bit. Normally, I don't let things like that get to me. Oh, is the game even closer than I thought? So it's an even more painful loss. It's a loss by a tie. So it doesn't get more painful than this. Look, I did miscount some points indeed, and just a lot of. Of course, I forgot the road mini battle. This is what I forgot. I forgot these here 4 points. Yeah. So this means that actually Jānis's move. Ay. So Jānis sacrificed 4 points to prevent his opponent from scoring 3, because on his last move, Daniel Ayala scored 4 instead of the 7 if you were to draw this here tile, right? And so this means that sometimes keep it simple is the answer. This here move was just being a little bit too overly fancy, thinking that you're a little bit further ahead than you actually are. So when you're playing in a close position, if you have a shielded tile, just add it to your ruin and you're going to be just fine. Let's see what the players discuss in the chat, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have some post-game discussion. Apparently not. Daniel saying maybe not the outcome you expected, but yeah, you bet. Considering that napalmEye finished in the top 8th, not in the qualification, but in the entire Carcassonne Champions League, was such a big result. Now, unfortunately, they're only... Wait, is it 3 or is it... Yeah, is it only 2 Latvians remaining in contention? Both, fortunately, already in the main stage of the tournament. So, don't worry, Jānis, you will be avenged very, very, very hard. Alright, so we have 10 minutes until the 3rd game. I will also suggest a break to calm some nerves and to prepare for the final series of entertainment. It's going to be more lighthearted. It's going to be in the 2nd qualification tournament for newer players. So we expect a lot of variance. We don't expect like super high calculation. However, look at this, 600 rating for BDDL. Anyway, so I've seen him a little bit. His Norwegian opponent I have never ever seen, so it's very nice to see a newer play here. Let's just open the page of the Norwegian with a screen named Panzah. She's rated 370. So of course not the rating favorites, but you know, the underdog has prevailed many times, and it's also very often happens that if somebody's like a bit lower rated but with a small number of games, that because they have not played a sufficient number of games to climb up to what their true rating actually is, because at the start, well, you can only win so many rating points per game. Hi napalmEye, my commiserations. All right, let's see if Board Game Arena has improved these here meeples yet. I don't think they have. I think we might have to... Oh, wait, I just realized that I'm opening... I realized that I was just showing tabs which you can't even see. Never mind. Okay, let me just open the players' profiles. I can't show you the players' profile. This is so weird. You know, let's do some improvisation. Okay. So... let me do something like this. Yeah, you can see the Uruguayan. And you can see their statistics. And then you can see the Norwegian and you can see her statistics. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back to this page. And then we're going to change it back. We're going to change it back to whichever page allows us viewing the game without purple meeples. Not that I mind purple, but I mostly mind the fact that it is purple for both players. Alrighty, so this is the situation. See you in 3 minutes, and I will do my best to not step on any more extension cord. I have now re-entered the room with the utmost caution. No equipment has been physically moved, and therefore we can proceed with our final leg of the streaming day without further disruption. So we have 4 minutes to preview the last match. This is in qualification 2, the tournament for second place finishers of, actually mostly first place finishers of national championships of newer countries or countries which are yet to be recognized on the international scene. One such country is Uruguay. We had one Uruguayan player eliminated earlier today, so BDDL will try to keep the representation of Uruguay still alive, because another Uruguayan, the reigning world number 2, the one who came second in the in-person championship in Essen, Horacio Mastandrea, has already been eliminated earlier a few days ago, so the player with the screen name BDDL is the last hope of the South American nation for good results in the Carcassonne Champions League. Nearly 600 rating, that's actually really good. Nearly 3,000 games of experience, so certainly will be quite the advantage over the newer Norwegian player with the screen name Panzah. Only 32 games, but I presume that these games is what she has played on this platform, and she must have played more in person and on other platforms, so we don't really know the true strength from this player. We will find out it at some point. as she plays and as she challenges the Uruguayan. Guess that was enough of a preview. Maybe one other small thing that we can look at. Just let's see what happened in the first match. So BDDL actually lost in an upset against Logan Ganesh of Malaysia, and I'm calling this just upset rating-wise, as Logan is rated, I think, around 300. Whereas Panzah lost in a tight duel against the first ever Korean representative in the Carcassonne Champions League, who, by the way, now made it all the way to the finals, where they will be playing against the more experienced Dutchman with the screen name Meeple over People. But this player's rating is also nearing 600, so we might as well see the Korean in the main stage of the Champions League soon enough. But anyway, it's not about them, it is about these here guys. So at the very least, each of them has won a game in the Champions League. So if one of them loses today, well, when one of them inevitably loses today, it won't probably be such a painful loss. And if they do win, they advance to the Moldovan with the screen name Rodaz, who is waiting them in the third round. That's about sums it up. Now, I just want to see if Board Arena became any better with the Meeple colors. And if not, I'll just switch to the old review. Okay, so at least this review mode works. What if we just go and like watch a random player? Maybe they, let's go here. Actually, never mind. Let's just see when the game starts. If it works well, I stick with this window, because this is where we can see the better, clearer tile layout. If not, I'll go back to my incognito window, where at least we can see the game somehow. Alright, so the game has not yet started, but the table has been created. Both players are online, I believe, or at least the Uruguayan. Och de norske spiller här. There's also some mild frustration with Board Game Arena, as when you go to this here page, you can never go back to the player's profile page, but we'll find a quick solution. We'll just go here and go to their profile again. The 35-year-old from Montevideo is going to try and defend his honor of the rating favorites. Alright, so we have a Norwegian fan in the chat. Do we have any Uruguayans? Okay, so it looks like we're going to have to change the window after all. Just bear with me, it's going to take a few seconds, as it is probably BDDL who is a starting player and places a purple square here. Oh, lordy. Alright, we're going to go here. And we're gonna just bear with me. I'm gonna do this. And we're gonna close this one. And we're gonna change this. Wait, what is that? Nope, it's not that. Yeah, and we're gonna go over here. So we have at least some sort of image. Now the Uruguayan has the red meeples and the starting player position. Over here, the Norwegian has the Green meeples and a menacing city over here. BDDL now chooses not to connect the city, start the cities on the right. Now an interesting stylistic decision here from Panzah. Does she go here, which is my preferred move, or does she go here? Yeah, so she goes for this. Both moves have downside. The downside of this is that BD can go here and now try to invade this here big city. I wouldn't be too worried. We get the one road point in compensation. We can go here later and try to pressure these two squares. But still, if you're Uruguayan, you have to do this. Ooh, this is interesting. What does she do here? So several options. Option one, we just separate our... Wait! She just teleports a meeple illegally at the top. Do you see the same thing that I'm seeing? What's up with that? Okay, I presume it has something to do with Borga Marina issues. Yeah, okay. But like... but this is just crazy. And it's definitely not just on my end. Like, players have been reporting issues like this. Yeah, I did not see that coming. But apparently teleportation is now legal in Carcassonne. Anyway, let's hope we avoid issues like that in the future. Panzah continues the road. BDD now. Connects to the city. The more valuable feature, as maybe Green is devoting a little bit too much energy for fighting on the left, and this is exactly what we kind of see for players in the 400 to 500 range, where you kind of just fight for features for the sake of fighting, without necessarily calculating the impact. However, this road is actually not that bad. She is now not there. I was gonna say she's now gonna use it to invade this here city, but instead she's just going to allow the red guy to just finish this giant monstrosity, just for the sake of connecting the roads, which she could have done later in the first place. So this is some gutsy playing. I mean, it's obviously a move which loses the game at a quite high frequency, and I'm afraid this is going to be one of those cases as BDD finishes a city, drops a farmer over here, and teaches the Norwegian newcomer a valuable lesson about city fighting. As in, do it. It's a good idea. She can still actually win this. I mean, of course, she will need to come from behind, but she has some moderate compensation. He has this long road. She has this here city cap. This here city cap. Like, all this gives her some points. So I'm going to tell you exactly how much she's behind. So the value of the city cap in the long run is 2. This one also, that's 4. She's like down 10 points. Now I'm gonna go here for a 6-point monastery, but she might be afraid because she doesn't have enough meeples. But is she gonna do there? Yes, well done. She does this. So she knows her monastery meepling. BDD connects to the road, which is something I would not be too concerned about if I'm Green. Because if red connects, then we just reconnect. We can make a longer road. Not right now, as probably a move like this is going to happen. Covering up the road invasion from the other side. If BDD is feeling more adventurous, they could go here. And even get another meeple on the road. Let's see what they choose. Look at this. So Green has separated the two roads. is now preparing to finish her big road, now also dropping a farmer, finishing a city. Now she's cooking a little bit. It's still an uphill climb, will require quite a lot of good tiles, but with best play, easily a 10% winning chance. Now it's a challenging move, of course, because we want to make something good and valuable with a tile like this, as red is now trying to set up a blocking square here. I like this idea, just scoring points, leaving a lot of features up for grabs. Points are scored in response. Will she get herself some sort of a tile to defend this here city? Not really, but she finishes herself a long road. Now she is not going to have meeple problems pretty much forever, only down 14, whilst having this here city, having the equality on the farm, vulnerable meeple for red, and suddenly it's a playable position. I like how in Carcassonne things can turn around sometimes, but this, of course, is a rather unpleasant move. It is still possible to finish the monasteries. There are like many combos. Most of them involve road monasteries here, of course, in varieties of locations. Green now takes 3 points at the top, makes this here square a little bit more vulnerable. Yeah, maybe if I'm green, most of the time I'm losing only one of these meeples, but not two. And if red keeps drawing these not particularly valuable tiles, then green is doing herself just all right. Oh, but what is she going to do with this? Because this one is a bit of a challenge. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 5 curves remaining, and this wouldn't be crazy to actually just block her own meeple, but do something like this and try to build up her monastery with curves. But I really like her decision, just equalizing the farms, allowing our opponent to spend some time on blocking these here areas, and this is exactly what happens. This is also, I don't think it's a very strong move, actually, because it is a bit of a waste of a monastery, and there's still a chance to finish both of these here cities as Panzah keeps scoring and scoring and scoring. Check this out. She's going to draw some sort of curve tile to score 4 points next. Not quite, but close enough. Scores now the cities over here and opens up a dangerous field attacking platform. And if somebody gets a curve, that will certainly be unpleasant. So let's see what BDD does. So I think he's looking for this blocking. Yeah, and this is fair enough. She's going to lose 2 meeples. But now Panzah can use the same location to go over here. Maybe we don't even bother with the 4 points. Maybe we'll go to the farm straight away. Okay, 4 points are perfectly fine. But then does either player see this farming platform? Now Panzah's zone is within 1 point. Red continues his city. Now this is the chance. Now we go here and invade. Will he find this? Also an opportunity to go here for 5 points as well. I believe at this point the field is a little bit more valuable, but sure, a monastery, not wrong to meeple a monastery. Well, surely now BDD is going to go over here for 6 points and field invasion opportunities. Or will he indeed be so preoccupied with blocking that he will try to flog this here dead horse on the left? And no. Horse. The misspeaking today is a little bit much. Anyway, so this farmer, of course, is very good, but that's a nice response here from Panzah, continuing the city at the top, now trying to do something nasty here, maybe getting a city cap, dropping a farmer, invading over here through a monastery. This here tile makes life difficult for the Norwegian, because a city cap and maybe another farmer could descend. I think this here move is a little bit too slow. What I would have preferred instead of this 1 point is just going over here with a double purpose move. 1, setting up a blocking or invasion platform against this square, which we can still do right now. And 2, of course, trying to block this here square, denying this farmer the entry, taking advantage of the fact that all 8 crossroads have already gone out. And Panzah does find herself this dual purpose move. Now BDL can probably go here and continue the city like that. But then the blocking opportunity still exists. We're going to see how good the tile tracking of the new Norwegian player is. Is she going to wait for a tile to do the permanent block, or is she going to go for just a restriction? Is she going to go here and drop a farmer like this and connect like that? Or is she going to go for the Marian Kurkan type move and break the city and try to block it from both squares or to invade it? I think the latter option would have been a little bit better. Instead, she kind of ignores this, just indirectly building up her city at the top. This is a little bit too slow, even though this is a move which actually does mildly improve her position. Red takes some points, but at the same time makes their city a little bit more vulnerable. And now that city is going to be blocked or invaded. We're going to see in a second what Panzah is going to choose. I think an invasion kind of makes sense there. And she does do exactly that. Now, there is one tile that separates these cities, actually. Not too big of a concern for now. Panzah, with a city cap, does not really have any good moves. So the most important idea here is to avoid bad moves. And I was going to say the most important idea is, of course, not to go over here, helping your opponent's monastery, giving a farming platform, like allowing your opponent to block this here square. But I can understand, of course, where a move like this is coming from. But, of course, always, you have to take care of your own squares first. And you only fill in the shared squares when you're absolutely sure that you're going to recover that meeple. Still a winnable position for green. I think the main thing that she needs to do is she needs to actually try and block this here square. But she does not seem to get the tile for it. BDL is not going to even bother invading. Instead, they're just going to go at the top and drop a farmer like there. They're going to have themselves a 6-point field for insurance, and they're going to have the proper invasion farmer at the top through one of the road tiles, and it looks like a very, very good position for them. But believe it or not, the position is still winnable for Panzah. She just needs to get the tile to score some points here, which actually is non-existent, so never mind. This is not going to happen, but she could maybe invade this here ruin. She could maybe try and invade the field somehow. However, it looks a little bit closed. I don't quite see the platforms to do that. Hi, H. Hexic. It's a great question. What general advice do you have with a player who is peaked above 600 to reach 700 elo? It's a good question. Let's address this after this game. I really want to talk about this a little bit, as we can see BDL is having different priorities, just taking care of the invasion, has his city blocked, but this monastery tile allows him to finish this monastery, get 16 ahead on the scoreboard. Panzah now gets a little bit of love on the scoreboard as a result of this here city cap, choose the top city cap. So now that BDL is thinking, I think I can answer your question. There are some specifics, but broadly, I would say absolutely avoid arena mode. You generally want to be paired with players who are higher rated than you so that you can learn from them. Because the thing with playing arena is that if you're rated 600, then most of the time you're going to be playing with opponents who are a bit lower rated than you. And if you make some mistakes, you're still going to win the game, and because they're just going to let you get away with those mistakes. If you just play simple games with slow time controls against experts or above, then it's very easy to get rid of some flaws from your game, whichever they may be, because you notice that like you do something and then you start losing. So for example, my big flaw, which took me like a few months to get over, was just being a bit too slow on the field. And my opponent kept over farming, finish a city cap, drop a farmer, finish a city cap, drop a farmer. At first I was like thought, oh, I was getting unlucky, but in reality, no. Like after 10 lost games in a row, I understood that there is something wrong with me. But this realization was only possible because I played with experts and masters with enough time control to actually think about the moves. And so this would be my general advice. Then there's some particular tactics. One thing that's actually super, super useful is to solve puzzles. There are plenty of them on topcarcassonne.com. I'm not paid to say this, unfortunately. I wish I were. I need to talk with the creator of the site about this, so that maybe if I advertise their puzzles, then I get like a cut from every premium subscription that you can buy there. Ooh, let me just drop that puzzle link in the chat, actually. That's a good idea. So topcarcassonne.com, and this goes right into the chat. For all of y'all as well, I have solved some of those puzzles on stream, but it's just a great way to improve your game because you see what other players wrote about the puzzles, you see their other suggestions, you see their explanations, and it's kind of a community way of solving problems, something that's actually quite unique for that site. And most of the problems don't even have like obvious correct solutions, except for the very early end game and the very late, the very early opening and the very late end game. Anyway, BDL, this one's with a 13-point difference only, as Panzah's monasteries actually end up doing her good a little bit. So holding her own after losing this big city. Now down 1-0, and still all the chances to fight here a little bit. Now we're gonna have that same issue that I need to do this dance of going through multiple windows to actually get to the game. So just bear with me here. Yep, so still purple meeples on my main window, so we're just gonna go open this in incognito real quick. BDL now is not the starting player. However, they had 8 points on the scoreboard after finishing this city. However, Panzah was the starting player, and she has now a monastery and a shielded city tile that is supported by this monastery. Finds now an actually strong move, which is not easy to find, facing the city cap outwards and still preserving the control over this road. Of course, normally you do not want to continue your opponent's road, but in this case it is perfectly fine because you're also continuing your monastery as well. BDL now creating vulnerabilities in Panzah City, and she decides to bite, takes the quick points anyway. I like that decision. There are many lines how we get to connect over here. Unfortunately, the worst tile in the deck has been drawn from the Norwegian's perspective, or the best tile in the deck has been drawn from Uruguay's perspective. Alrighty. But so far an equal position, of course, This, of course, is a very, very vulnerable meeple, but Panzah's defending. She just needs to get herself a dagger tile here to defend, and then a dagger here to complete, get herself the city back. Ooh, does she know this tactic? Very, very interesting, because the defense in this here situation is very, very not straightforward. So there's several options. And she finds it! Look at that! It's not a very easy move to find at all, and it translates to a 60% chance, kind of finishing that city. This is absolutely lovely. There are 3 tiles that go into this square, and there are 2 tiles that go into this square, and it is only possible to place those tiles, so any further blocking is not possible, and the city is basically completely saved. She now invades the city on the right. Just a mild imprecision that it was a bit better to invade from the other side. To start harassing this here meeple ends up making no difference. Panzah now is going to get her invasion, but now the city is likely to be re-invaded by red, but red does not have a tile. So what if green has a tile? I'm not rooting for anybody in particular, but in this here game, I'm rooting a little bit more for green, because this would mean that we would go to a decider, so we get to watch one more game. And look at this, she gets her dagger tile. She gets her dagger tile. So now there are still 2 remaining that fit into that square. BDL chooses not to invade the city at the top, chooses to play it cautiously. L9 point ahead on the scoreboard. Panzah now with a road monastery tile. She could go here for 4. She could go here for 6. She could go here for 6. Just please, 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 please don't go here. Don't finish your opponent's road just because these monasteries look pretty together. Please, no negative value moves. And she finds the best placement for 6 points. BD, probably looking to go here, pressure these here square, and then also make sure that nobody can invade this here city. When you're ahead, you want to minimize variance. Some love from the scoreboard, from the deck, goes here and gets transferred to the Norwegian scoreboard. Og et en nytt norske meeple på byen her. Actually, I wonder, en meeple or et meeple? Is a meeple masculine or neutral? Also quite interesting if you want to know some facts about Norwegian language and why else would you were the stream. Most Norwegian dialects do not have feminine. They only have masculine and neutral in terms of like the from a grammatic perspective. So for example, you would say en kvinne, like a woman, but you would use the masculine article for that. In some rural areas, you would still have feminine. You would still have 3 genders like German has, but Norwegian has this phenomenon. I just like languages, so never mind me. We have actually quite a lot of interesting stuff going on the board. At first, there were some natural moves, just scoring. So there was not too much to comment on. Players just finished their features. Panzah is still waiting for this here guy, so that's a 75% setup. This is a super lucrative monastery. These here farmers have met each other, and it's a very good position for green so far. Oh yes, of course. Thank you, Helga, for the initiative. If viewers can use this, can use my streams to set up practice games and all kinds of things together, I would be super, super honored. Anyway, that's a lovely move from BDL. Now, starting a city in such a way which nastily creates some blocking opportunities against this square, because 1, 2, 3, 4 all starting tiles are gone. If only a Dorito gets drawn to this square, then these 2 meeples of green will be trapped, and Panzah just cannot get herself a road tile for the life of her. But neither can BDL get himself a blocking tile, and this, of course, is quite painful. It kind of blocks the monastery to Sophie's Choice block. Now green needs this here tile in 2 squares. But I think if just green finishes the monastery, finishes the city, sacrifices this monastery, maybe even blocks this square, which is very, very possible. I don't think it's super important. Anyways, and then she could be doing herself quite well. But BDL gets the penultimate dagger tile. And what a move! That's an excellent find from the Uruguayan, not shelling out for 4 points here or the meeple recovery here, but sacrificing a city cap to trap 2 of green's meeples, which effectively is actually only 1 meeple because the collateral damage is this here red monastery. So a difficult position now for green, but a playable one nonetheless. So already we see consequences from this meeple disadvantage, right? Because now green would have loved to start the city for 8 points, but she kind of doesn't want to because she barely has meeples. So he chooses to just discard tiles until she draws this here tile for herself to score 4 roads. She's probably gonna go over here, try to block this here guy, unless he thinks that there's still something left here. BDL now unnecessarily spending a tile on blocking because, of course, there's only 1 dagger tile remaining that would fit into either square. Maybe this move actually does have some benefits on blocking this here city cap. BDL gets the dagger, but not that kind of dagger. There's still 1 more remaining. So some hope for the Norwegian, who now has much, much needed 3 quick points. And still, even after though, she would need quite a lot to come back. Namely this here tile as soon as possible, as BD can just build a 4-point road over here. This is probably the most efficient way to go about things. Could go for the farm over here, try to invade like this, but sometimes he does get blocked here with a crossroads, so maybe we do not want to resort to ninjas this early. And indeed, the standard 4-point move is what we observe. Green now can not really do anything in particular, tries to create a blocking opportunity against her opponent. This is exactly what is happening. Yeah, I'm feeling like green is playing this game much, much better than the previous one. Maybe she's getting like a worse position, but this is mostly because of the tiles, not really because of her moves. Like no major blunders, and also some quite creative plays, and something, and like this here defense, which was really, really difficult to notice. Not many players can do that, at least until a certain level. But then, unfortunately, just the tiles are not coming to capitalize on this, as red is pre-building a ruin for himself. Green is probably going to go over here, try to block this. Green is extracting value from her unseemly tiles. Probably red is thinking about going over here, starting another farm. I guess you have to do something interesting with your meeple majority. Oh no, of course, this is much better. Starting a new city and also creating this here defense. Panzah now is going to go here, try and block this here guy. Oh, instead she does this, which is a mistake. And it does not end up mattering because she does not draw any of her daggers. She does not cash on this beautiful setup. When this was defended, I said there was a 60% chance of completing the city. So a bit unfortunate to get 1 tile and not get the other, but 60% is not a guarantee, and sometimes you do not get rewarded for making the best move, and you just have to deal with this. Have to avoid tilting, have to avoid having too many negative emotions. You can have a little bit, like a healthy amount. I think mild disappointment would be appropriate for this. But yeah, now I think after this here tile has been drawn, and after this here meeple has been capped at 4 points next to his monastery which suffers the same fates, then now we can safely say that it is the Uruguayan player who will be preserving the tournament life, advancing further to play against Moldova's Rodas, and to Panzah we're going to thank her for participation. So let's just watch the final tiles and see where this leads us. BDL takes a 3-point farmer, because why not, I guess? I don't get this move one bit. I think this might be due to some sort of field hallucination. I don't see why BDL does not want to go for the 6-point ruin instead. Panzah gets a scoring tile, now drops the city cap right in the open. This is exactly what you want to do when you're trying to come back, but unfortunately for her, this only exacerbates the deficit on the scoreboard. As the coin flip for the city cap goes the Uruguayan's way, just as she herself had a city cap. At this point, I think we don't try too hard. We just enjoy the last couple of minutes of this championship. Maybe start a 4-point city somewhere. Maybe just drop the city cap and leave it alone. And Panzah just chooses to take away the biggest scoring opportunity. She places her last meeple on this here ruin, which is probably the best that she can do. Well, I'm not sure if it is the best, but it is the highest scoring move on the board. She figures that, you know, we're kind of running out of crossroads anyway. I'm not having any particular luck with scoring with city caps, so why don't I just score for something and wrap it up? She gets to score still. She continues her city at the bottom, reducing the score difference a little bit further. BDL, of course, is building up his farm. Now a 7-point move for the Uruguayan. Is going to sting a little bit for our Scandinavian fans. Panzah gets a crossroads, which of course is not going to be used over here for the recovery of her opponent's meeple, but this is actually a rather nice move. She's closing down the road, so she's not allowing BDL some scoring opportunities, still trying to do everything in her power to preserve a respectable score difference. All right, so what is Green gonna do here? Well, she's not going to continue her city because Red denied that opportunity. Red is also trying to be precise despite having 100% winning chance. So maybe Green could go on the right and try to block the city cap, for example. Yeah, in those situations where one side is far ahead, whether this is you or your opponent, you can still use the last few tiles to try and practice improving the game. Just imagine that the score is like not 1841 on the scoreboard, but something like 1815. And then try to figure out how to make the optimal moves for this here possession. Now it suddenly becomes much, much harder. Panzah gets herself a scoring tile. Hey, yay, 2 points at the bottom is what we're seeing, but BDL now with a 5-point road. A likely outcome here. Could also go for a 4-point road, so that's a little bit of a miss. And Panzah with another scoring tile here at the bottom. This is what we're going to see in a... And a straight line will result into a 3-point move here, or here, or here, or in many, many other areas. GG saying Panzah, or rather GGS plural. Well, we see the 3 points being scored in that particular way for a road instead of a field. Panzah is going to make 0 for a monastery. It doesn't matter exactly where it goes. And the points will be counted. Yeah, overall, I felt like the second game was really, really well played by the Norwegian. No outrageous blunders by the red player either. I just felt that their decisions were quite easy because they did get a lot of city caps and the draws were a little bit more imbalanced compared to the first game. One brilliancy that red did manage to make is this here combo, kind of recognizing that the marginal chance of blocking the square is worth starting the new city over here, and it paid off beautifully. It's not really that dagger, although this hurt a lot. It's mostly these two blocked monasteries that just sealed the deal for the Uruguayan player. As with the meeple minority, really, Panzah could not do all that much. Look, only an 11-point difference. It's really not a lot. If this dagger is drawn, it's already 4 points for the road. It is 6 extra for the city. This is 10 points in a meeple. This actually just puts her ahead. So sometimes 60% ends up not working in your favor, and you just gotta live with it. You gotta simply see another day. Be courteous in the chat. Congrats with a Z. I like that. And let's see if BDDL does indeed have good luck in the rest of the tournament. I hope he does not respond U2, because there is no rest of the tournament for Panzah. She will be eliminated with just 1 win in 5 games in the previous duel. Alrighty, so at least this was closer than I expected. The highest rated player wins and climbs again over the 600 rating threshold, worthy of the captain of a national team. And they will be continuing their Champions League quest. So let's now go back to our previous view. Let's now go... What is that about? Huh. Yeah, let's do this. Wait. Yeah, okay, perfect. So we're here. Now we get to just do a little bit of preview for tomorrow. This is our plan, because we have so many upcoming matches, and some of them were scheduled as we were streaming, so we can make decisions right now as to what we want to watch. So I'm gonna leave it just here for a couple of minutes, and anything from here I can cover like 1 or 2. Oh yeah, of course, I'm definitely covering Miss Penguin from qualification for this like top level, but I might have still time for something else. So what do y'all feel like watching? And in the meantime, I'm going to just take care of some aesthetics here and there. Gonna move some things. We're gonna see how the other match is going on the scoreboard. Townsend predictably leaving against Vega Orion. Anyway, so a match that I see is actually this one, because it will be the first ever appearance of India on stream ever in international events, with a punny screen name of Tamillionaire. That would be quite interesting. And then, of course, if we want only a high-level Carcassonne, there's going to be Dr. Taihan versus Tehran PL, a world champion playing, but it's kind of clashes a little bit with them, so I don't think I'm going to show you just that. MTU Preach is super interesting, but MTU is such a massive favorite that Preach is going to struggle really hard in that one. And maybe for those of you who are late, Lord Terrycloth versus Tomaszek, who wants something quick and fun and relatively high level as well. Some of the Polish. Gotcha. So I'll do my best. I'll wake up tomorrow and then see how it goes. Oh yeah, there's actually a lot of Polish players performing tomorrow. So that could be quite interesting. Okay, I'm gonna aim tomorrow to cover one Polish player. And of course the main match of the day, which is Miss Penguin against IMD5. So then our plans are settled. Now I'm just gonna do the usual reminders. Make sure to like the stream, to place the meeple on the like button, to meeple the like button if you enjoyed any of this. It helps with the algorithm a lot. And subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne content like this, because we're scheduling things at very short notice due to the fast-paced nature of the tournament. And if you're feeling exceptionally generous, you can join the channel. I'm not sure if anybody of all of you are available of that option for as little as $2 a month. This would help me buy a new extension cord, which I am not going to trip over and not disrupt any further streams. So we're going to stop right there. I'll see you tomorrow for the main match of the day and one more Polish match. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.